The ultimate evil, Dracula. Hello everybody, I am Rue and this is my YouTube channel, Rue with the Books. Welcome back if you have been here before, and welcome for the first time if you're new. This is the final of my spooky reads and therefore the last of my spooky season reviews. I've made it through my first spooky season on booktube. Yay! Don't worry though, more spooky content coming your way. There are some special videos in the works. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the book of Monsters and Mainframes by Barbara Truelove. I want to sing this book's praises because it's such a wonderfully fun, quirky, and creative read. It's exactly what I needed as a pick-me-up after reading Misery by Stephen King, one of the heaviest horror books I've read. It lifted me up and engrossed me in a fantastic story that just made time fly by. Before I actually get into the book, be sure to press the like button and send some algorithmic assistance my way. Every virtual thumbs up counts. If you like books and book content, be sure to press the subscribe button while you're down there. I upload at least twice a week, so I would love to hang out in your subscription feed and send some consistent content your way. Grab a quick beverage if you don't have one. We got to stay warm in these colder months. Take a second to get cozy and let's go. Let's talk about of Monsters and Mainframes. Let me begin by reading to you what the Goodreads summary says about this book, and then we can take it from there. Spaceships aren't programmed to seek revenge, but for Dracula, Demeter will make an exception. Demeter just wants to do her job, shuttling humans between Earth and Alpha Centauri. Unfortunately, her passengers keep dying, and not from equipment failures, as her AI medical system steward would have her believe. These are paranormal murders, and they began when one nasty ancient vampire decided to board Demeter and kill all her humans. To keep from getting decommissioned, Demeter must join forces with her own team. A werewolf, an engineer built from the dead, a pharaoh with otherworldly powers, a vampire with a grudge, a fleet of cheerful spider drones. Together, this motley crew will face down the ultimate evil, Dracula. The queer love child of pulp horror and classic sci-fi of Monsters and Mainframes is a dazzling, heartfelt odyssey that probes what it means to be one of society's monsters and explores the many types of friendships that make us human. Now, doesn't that sound incredibly fun? Well, I'll spoil that for you. Yes, it is. It's like stupid amounts of fun. I really enjoyed the plot in this book. I will warn the plot-driven readers out there that it is a bit of a slow burn for the plot. Barbara Truelove takes a solid amount of time fleshing out her characters and giving them reasons to come aboard Demeter. The characters don't all meet on one voyage, and it adds that epic feeling of a story taking place over a long stretch of time. That aspect works well because when the characters finally confront Dracula, it doesn't feel like we got rushed to the destination. Dracula appears quite early in the book and does his thing, but we don't start hunting down Dracula until 60% of the way into the book. And that's just acknowledging the fact that he's gotta go down. It has a similar setup to something like The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, but slows down on the pacing, despite Joe being absolutely cooked with the source in terms of character work. In that book, all the characters meet like straight away and set off within just a few chapters, and this book does kind of the opposite, it flips it around. I think that the way that Barbara Truelove handled the pacing of the plot was quite genius, though. It allows the reader to start getting attached to Demeter and feel bad for her because she's getting like the really bad end of the stick. So when the characters start to take matters into their own hands to try to save her, it's a very triumphant and feel-good kind of moment. So yeah, simple plot and pacing a bit slow, but for me it was just right to build things up emotionally and develop the characters. Sometimes it doesn't need to be a race towards the end, and it's perfect to just take a second and smell the roses. I did find that the actual built-up interaction between our crew and Dracula was a bit anticlimactic. Everything that was happening alongside that showdown was great, but Barbara Truelove built up some strengths and weaknesses for our cast and Dracula that threw her into a bit of a hole and meant she couldn't do much to make it feel epic and actually climactic. Which I think it was a bit of a shame and could have been improved in some senses. So, the Goodreads summary names our star cast of characters. We have Demeter playing AI number 1. We have Steward playing AI number 2. We have a werewolf playing undead number 1. We have an engineer built from the dead playing undead number 2. We have a pharaoh with otherworldly powers playing undead 3, kind of. We have a vampire with a grudge playing undead number 4, and we have a fleet of cheerful spider drones playing pet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Seriously, they are so charming and adorable. They must be protected at all costs. I'm mainly going to talk about the 2 AI in this section because we spend most of the time in this book in their POVs, and I don't want to spoil stuff about the other characters because there isn't much you can say about them without spoiling a lot of stuff about the plot and the characters themselves, so let's stay clear of that. I will just say that these other characters, apart from the 2 AI, are all quirky, fun, and unique, and I really enjoyed reading about them. It is a great cast with a lot of variety, and once again, it is a bit like the Devils, because in the Devils, our cast of characters are all very different from one another, and that is brilliant. So, let's talk about the 2 AI. They are genuinely obscenely funny. They have a great dynamic, which evolves over the course of the story. Barbara Truelove plays on the fact that they are AI and uses it to comedic effect. So much of the standalone dialogue from each of them had me just in stitches. They are so funny. There are also some great gags when they are talking together to one another, but they do kind of play their own separate roles a lot of the time because Demeter is the pilot and Steward is the medical AI, and of course, a medic and a pilot have their own jobs to do, so they are bound to spend a lot of time apart. Barbara Truelove also makes them very riveting characters by humanizing them. It's kind of weird in the current technological landscape, but it does make them more understandable and relatable considering everything because we can't really actually get into the brain of an AI. It's kind of weird saying this, but the AI characters have the best character arcs over the course of the book. It's not a particularly new trope to use AI in media because, for example, we have Cortana in the Halo series from ages ago at this point, but nevertheless, they are absolutely fantastic characters and probably get the most page time in the book. Barbara Truelove has hit the nail on the head with what she has done with them. This book is an emotional roller coaster and had me feeling a whole range of emotions about these characters, ranging from laughter and joy to sadness and despair. What is even more incredible is how little pages it takes for her to achieve all these things and have me feeling all of these emotions. I'm going to focus on the humor rather than the horror for this spooky season book because the book isn't really that scary. It's a horror book because it has undead in it, but it's not really that scary apart from the idea of Dracula himself and the fact that, well, a lot of people have died in this book. The humor in this book makes me feel warm and cozy. The AI say a lot of silly things or react to situations in incredibly absurd ways that you can start squealing out loud with laughter. In addition to the AI, there are also so many ridiculous moments that had me laughing out loud. This book at times plays on cosmic horror tropes, and I'm all for that kind of thing too. This book is very cheesy and almost self-aware with all the different kind of subgenres of horror and what you can do with them. It was very creative and really funny. It's practically a perfect book for this autumn season, something to warm your heart when it's starting to get cold out. One moment in particular that had me laughing and gives an example of what to expect in this book with the humour is Demeter and Steward played 9 billion games of chess when they were bored. Eventually, Demeter gives up, and Steward is like, "Why do you give up? You don't know how the game's going to play out because the game just started." And Demeter is like, "I win every single time when I play white and lose every single time when I play back. I think I know what's going to happen." And that's just kind of a silly little joke that just, plays on the AI thing, and it was really good. So plenty more to expect in that kind of sense, just like little techie nerdy jokes. One Goodreads review compares this book as a mixture of Gideon the Ninth, Murderbot, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know much about Gideon the Ninth because I haven't read it, although it is in my TBR, but I have read the first Murderbot book and Hitchhikers, and I can definitely see that crossover. So if you like either of those books for their humour, you might enjoy this one. So yeah, I have said a lot of good things about this book. The AI absolutely breathe in this book, which is quite ironic. It has a lot of great, funny moments. It's an absolute emotional roller coaster. I enjoyed the character work, the slow burn pacing of the book as well. Now, what do I dislike about the book? Well, I have one main criticism, and that is that there are two really interesting characters that get so little time to shine. One in particular had such massive potential. I would have loved either some backstory about them, like 10 to 15 pages to get to know about them, because they are like very not usual, very unusual even, I guess. Or I would have liked them to get just a bit more time to shine in the plot itself. Either one of those options to just give me more time with them, I would have really loved. I already mentioned in the plot section, but one of the there's some rules based on the characters in Dracula that was written in towards the end of the book that meant Barbara Truelove kind of wrote herself into a hole that was impossible to get out of. And I think the story could have been a lot more interesting and exciting towards the conclusion if that hadn't been the case. So yeah, there's that too. So, to conclude, this book has a fairly simple plot about killing Dracula, which moves fairly slowly to flesh out the characters and show us how their stories interact with Demeter's, leading to some pretty horrific things happening. As the plot picks up, we get some really epic moments, but the climax felt a little bit off because of the rules that Barbara Truelove wrote into her story. The climax should have been a bit longer, in my opinion, to make the build up to that event feel worth it. This book is full of so many twists and turns, and for me, it was an emotional roller coaster. I was laughing at times, I felt the big sad for characters at others, and melancholy sometimes too. I was expecting a good, cheesy, fun kind of story, and I got that, but a whole lot more too, which just makes me really appreciative of what I got with this book. The character work is really good when Barbara Truelove tries with her characters. However, there are some characters that really deserved a little bit more time to shine or a bit of backstory I didn't get that. It felt like there was some untapped potential in that regard. The story is a great little pick-me-up if you want something short and sweet or something to cleanse the palate. This book isn't perfect by any means, but it has so much charm surrounding it and it's good cheesy fun. I would recommend this book either to read during spooky season in between heavier or longer books, or to pick it up as a palate cleanser whenever in the year. Worry not, it is fantastic all year round. So, with everything that I have said, overall, I rate this book 4 stars out of 5. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have made it this far, I hope you find some money on the floor today. If you have read this book, do you agree with my opinions? If you have not read this book, have I convinced you that it's worth your time to pick it up? I would also love to hear about what you are currently reading, so throw that down in the comments below as well, please. I would appreciate it if you took a second to press that subscribe button too. I upload at least twice a week, so I would love to provide you with frequent content in that subscription feed. I have some socials down in subscription. Feel free to go check those out and connect with me outside of YouTube. I'm still trying to figure that stuff out, so you can come follow the journey. Anyway, until next time, Rue, out.